Hello and welcome back to another video from Real Therapy Fishing. So on today's episode I'm going to be showing you how to make a Pennel pulley rig. So I use this rig for virtually all of my beach fishing sessions. This is basically my go-to rig. So why I like this rig so much is because on the boat we use running ledgers all the time, and this is essentially what this is. So you've got your pulley bead, you've got your hook, and what it does is, as the fish, obviously your line will come up here, as the fish takes your hook, it runs with it all the way up to your lead weight. So it's quite a long trace. Some people would decide to put a bead in between the pulley bead and the knot, and this just stops the pulley bead from rubbing up against your knot, but it's all personal preference. I mean, some people decide to put a crimp there so it will stop just there before it hits your knot. Personally, I don't do anything. I just use this and let it run up against it, but as I say, it's all personal preference. You decide what you want to do with this knot. So the components you'll need for this rig is a pulley bead, but you can also use a standard swivel. Wrap your line through the swivel and you've got essentially exactly what I've got there. I just like using these because it splays it out a bit more, but works perfectly fine as well. You'll need obviously one swivel, a load of line, a hook. This is a 2.0 O'Shaughnessy hook. We will be for this video using a 6.0 and a 2.0 to make our Pennel pulley. And last but not least is a lead clip. I like these ones, they're nice and strong, so that's what I use. So I like quite a long trace personally. So what I like to do is, I'm going to cut my overall trace at 5 foot. Okay, I've got a bit of a mad method to work out the length overall, but because obviously you don't want them dead in half, because when you clip your lead weight on, you want to be able to pull it down and clip up to your imp, your splashdown, or your lead weight in our case. So what I like to do is get your line, where's the camera, like that, so it's dead in half, right, like so. Then when I know it's dead in half, when I've got my pieces dead in line, like so, I then measure 5 inches, right. So if it's 5 foot, I measure 5 inches. If it's 4 foot, 4 inches. You catch my drift. So what we want to do is get our loop end, place it on the edge of the tape, like so, and a bit more difficult on camera. I'm going to mark it there at 5 inches and then cut it. And that's how I do all of my pulley rigs. So the next stage is to tie the two back together. I know that might sound a bit strange as we've just cut it, but there is a reason for that. We put the swivel in the middle, and what this swivel does is it stops the line from all getting tangled up. So it will twist in the tide when the current's pulling. It will sit there with them two joined together, and if the line gets wrapped up, or you get a big fish or a small fish even sometimes, they'll wrap up your line. So what the swivel does is swivels. So we're going to tie one end onto the swivel using any old knot. This is the one I use it all the time. So what you do is, just like in our last rig video, you go through the loop, pass it underneath like so, and then over the top, so you've formed that loop there. Pull it down a bit more, go exactly the same, go underneath, and then flick it over so you've got your loop. So you've got 2 loops there now. With this tag end, you're going to come underneath and through them 2 loops. Pull tight and cinch down. And there we have our knot. Snip off your tag end. You want to leave a little bit of tag on there. And there we have our first knot done. So we want to do the exact same again, repeat the process. Underneath and over. So you can do a tucked blood loop, whatever you want to do. Whatever you're comfortable with doing. but this is my go-to knot. There we go. Let me just trim off the excess. So there we have both of our knots tied onto our swivel, and that's that bit done. Okay, so this next step is the most important part of this whole rig. What we've got is we've got one shorter piece, like so, and we've got one longer piece. This is exactly what you want. What we're going to do is add our pulley bead onto the longest piece now. So I'll slot that on just like so, add that down. As I say, you can add a bead there or a crimp to stop it from hitting that knot, but I'm really not fussed. These rigs only last a couple of days sea fishing, and then your hook's rusty anyway, so I'm not too fussed. So we've added that onto our longest piece like so, and we've still got the shortest piece. So we've got the pulley bead added, and now onto the end of that piece of line we want to then add our lead clip. So using the exact same knot again, I'll show that to you. Go over once, over twice, underneath, and then tuck our line. Give it a bit of a water down, cinch that knot nice and tight. That's what you want. Get our pair of scissors and cut off our tag end. So what you've got on this side is your lead clip coming down to your pulley bead and your swivel, and that's that side done. So on our other rig we used a 2.0 hook, and that was it. But I'm going to show you that there's a couple of different methods you can use with this. So I've got a 6.0 O'Shaughnessy hook as well. So what I'm going to do is grab our other end of the line. So you've obviously got all your gubbins there, that end. So from your swivel this end, I'm going to be adding a 2.0 hook, like so. Feed that on. So that's just going to be loose, and then what I'm going to do is tie this 6.0 hook on using the exact same knot again. Just underneath, one loop, underneath again, two loop, and underneath. Tighten that up and snip off your tag end. And that is our completed rig. So what I will just show you is, again, I'll show you on the last video, but for the people that haven't watched that video, the way a Pennel hook works is twist it around the line, pretend that's like your bit of squid. So you've got your, feed it on as you would like a normal hook, feed that on, and then you've got your secondary hook there. It can go either that way or that way. Okay, so last week in that video we made these lead weights with these little hooks on them, and this is what the hook's for. Get your lead clip, add it on as you would a normal lead weight, right, and then there's your pulley bead. There's your pulley bead, right. What you do is you hook your 6.0 hook straight onto there, and that's streamlined then for casting. As you can see, obviously the Pennel hook would be up there like normal, but of course you could add an imp, a splashdown, whatever you fancy. But that's a nice streamlined rig for casting off the beach. That's why I like that one so much. And then obviously when that hits the water, that will impact there like you've just seen, and it'll all fall off and it'll all lay in the water nice and smoothly with your bait there. So I hope you enjoyed this little rig making session. If you have got any other rigs that you'd like to know or learn, please leave them down in the comments, because I'll learn them myself and then teach you guys. So that's it, that's us from Real Therapy Fishing. Hope you enjoyed the rig making session. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.